is.
Wonders what light is?
Yeah.
Okay. This was a story about a girl named Jenna. And Jenna, can you go to bed properly? Can you put your head where your pillow is? Okay. So Jenna, when she was a kid, she used to spend hours and hours looking out the window and wondering about things on her life. Um, why some birds fly away during the winter and others stay, why squirrels are afraid of her when she didn't mean them any harm, um, why some insects hit themselves against the window glass and not notice that after the first try that they shouldn't keep doing it, things like that. And one of the things that she wondered was, what is light? And their first answers were rather simple, but they were not complete. Well, light is what comes from the sun, said their mom. Well, yeah, but that's like saying that water is the thing that comes out of the tap. That doesn't tell me what it is, it just tells me where it comes from, said Jenna. That's interesting. And so, Jenna decided to embark on a journey and try to study what light was. And there's a lot of information about light, sorry. There's something called the double slit experiment, which I will show you a video tomorrow if you want. Very, very interesting. Light seems to behave like a thing, but it also seems to behave like a wave. And a wave on what? And so Jenna decided that she needed to learn about science. And she started studying math and started studying quantum mechanics, quantum physics, regular physics as well. But even that did not explain what light was. And so she decided to keep going and experimenting. And she was told that there was a very wise man living in northern India that had the answer to what light was, but that nobody knew how to find him. All they knew is that he showed up when the time was right, only to those who really needed answers for the right reasons. And so Jenna kept studying. She went to college, she graduated, she got even a master's degree in quantum physics. She was an absolute powerhouse on her field, but she never got around to truly answer the question of what light was. And one day, she was given a conference in front of a lot of people, very smart people, by the way, about the properties of lasers and things like that, and radiation. One of the scientists that came to listen to Jenna speak had brought her own daughter, a little girl. And Jenna, at some point, stopped all of her complex mathematical equations that she was describing to the scientists and said, "Anybody has a question on this?" And the little girl said, "I have a question." And Jenna said, "Oh, what is it, little girl?" And the little girl said, "What is light?" And Jenna was silent. She remembered those nights, or those days, I'm sorry, when she was a kid studying nature. She remembered during her teenage years as she started reading and reading more. She remembered when she went to college, and then when she did her doctorate. And still, even though she could explain a lot of things about light, it wasn't much different than when her mom said it's what comes out of the tap. it was just explaining characteristics of light, features of light, behaviors of light, but not what is light. And so she decided right there and there to go seek the answers for herself at whatever cost. As soon as that conference was over, she canceled all of her appointments and booked a flight straight to India. When she arrived, she went up north to India, close to Pakistan, and started asking around. First, she went to some universities, but she would only get answers from the same level of mindset that had taught her. So it wasn't going anywhere further than what she already knew. In fact, in most cases, she could teach most of those peoples herself because she really knew her stuff. Uh, so she decided to start asking somewhere else, and one of the university professors suggested a temple. A temple, she said. That's where religious people go. Trust me, he said on a with a cryptic smile. Here's the address. I'll have a driver from the school take you so you're safe. She thought, well, I came as far as here, might as well. And so she let this driver take her all the way to a temple that was way up high in the mountains. As she arrived, there seemed to be nobody there, and so she started calling around. The temple was big, but it wasn't too luxurious. Actually, it was kind of old. After a while of searching for someone, she finally gave up, turned around, and when she turned around, she found a monk, not older than a kid, perhaps 15 or 16 years old. He was deep in meditation, and he had been there all along, right behind her, and she had not seen him. So she said, "Excuse me," but the teenager didn't move. He was still in meditation. "Excuse me," said her, but the little teenager was still meditating and wouldn't move. He was sitting like with crisscross legs, going. And so this started frustrating her a little bit. I mean, she was Dr. Jenna. She was the eminent uh, master of physics, one of the outmost experts in the planet, and she had flown all the way from the United States to India to end up being ignored by this little teenager? "Excuse me," she said again, but the teenager didn't even move a muscle. "Well," she said, "that does it. This kid is not going to ignore me." And she decided to grab his shoulder. But the second she touched his shoulder, poof! A flood of light came into her. She felt herself thrown out of her body. And suddenly, she was in the air, floating on top of her and the teenager. Both her and the teenager were completely still, as if time wasn't moving. And suddenly, this ball of light came towards her and said, "Why do you disturb my meditation?" But it was a ball of light. It wasn't moving or anything. And she said, what's going on? Where am I? What's happening? Why am I down here? Why am I not moving?" "Oh, that. Yeah, you'll get back down there when your time is done up here. What is it that you seek?" the light said to her. Okay, well, I guess I'll play along. I seek the answer to a question that I've had since I was a kid," Jenna said. "Well, don't be shy. You made it all the way here," said the light. And Jenna said, "What is light?" And so the light said, the ball of light said, "That's a great question. I've been waiting a long time for someone to come along and ask me that. Let's walk together. I'll show you instead of telling you." And so they started floating out of the temple, through the mountains, and outside of Earth. Jenna was following this ball of light, not understanding how or why she could be floating outside of her body. All of her years of studies of physics and mathematics and science didn't say anything about this. There were no scientific studies that she at least had come across about this. She thought, well, there's dreams. I heard of scientists that discover things in dreams, so I guess this must be one of those. Oh no, this is not a dream, said the light. Wait, you can hear my thoughts? Hear your thoughts? You are your thoughts, said the light. Wait a minute, what do you mean? Ah, I guess this will explain it. And the light said, mirror now. And poof, a huge mirror about the size of a house just started floating in front of them. Look at yourself, said the light. And as soon as she turned around to see, she saw two balls of light. Well, I don't see myself, said Jenna. Do you see me? Yes. You're right here next to me and I can see your reflection. Wait a second. Is that like me? It is. You are light. We are all light. What you see down there on Earth, that is only a reflection of our desires, of our fears, of our loves, of our energy, projected down into a much lower level of vibration so that we can play. Play? Are you saying that all of my life is a game? And the light said, if you choose it that to be that way, it can be fun, it can be scary, it can be sad, it can be anything you want. It's all up to you. But just remember, anything that is, it's only a reflection of your true self, which is light. Light is information. It is you. And with that, poof, he was back up in her body in the temple, and the teenage monk was gone. She was shocked. She couldn't believe what had happened. When she went back home, she wanted to tell everybody all about it. It wasn't so much that it was a great scientific discovery, because it wasn't. There was no science in that, at least none that she would understand. But there was certainly something new and different and completely disruptive about being outside of her body talking to a ball of light. But the more she tried to share that, the more everybody thought that she had eaten some funny mushroom or something and that her mind was not all right. And she kept trying to explain to everybody that she was perfectly sane and perfectly clear in her mind, but nobody would believe her. And so it was that she decided to abandon her field of science and dedicate her life to the pursuit of the true light, her own self. Deep in meditation, she made new friends, she made new circle of friends, and she started exploring her own inner light through connections, through manifestation, through energy work. And little by little, she started discovering what her true light was, her true self. And after that, she learned how to create happiness in her life for this experience, this game of life, which she called the present. And she lived happily ever after.